special of you and me.
Narrow Stairs, your 6th studio album, and one of the studios you went to was one that Jason had built. What kind of difference did that make?
It felt a little more like recording a record in your house than it did recording a record in somebody else's house. I think primarily you just want everything to work. You'd be surprised how many times things don't work.
Technically and creatively.
Exactly.
You gotta spend some time, love. You gotta spend some time with me. And I know that you'll find love. I will possess your heart.
And being in such a homey environment, were there any distractions, like friends and family coming through?
We keep a pretty closed door when we're in the studio. We also don't keep like vampire hours. We go in around like 10 or 11 and we leave around like dinner time. I think a lot like being backstage at a show, like being in a recording studio, is 99% of the time is really there's just nothing going on worth seeing. Like it doesn't give you any insight into the creative process. So
it's not as glamorous as we all think.
No, it's really not. No.
Fans was probably your biggest budget production. This time around, you actually recorded on tape, which means can't really stop and start as often.
A friend of ours, Tucker Martin, who's a producer, kind of came up with this term option anxiety, and I think it applies really well to all digital mediums. When you have the ability to change anything at any point, sometimes you spend more time clicking through the mouse than you actually doing whatever you're supposed to be doing. So tape kind of, nips that in the bud.
I do believe it's true.
A lot of bands are going back to like the live recording. What do you think that is, that the bands are kind of going back to that?
We've realized that I think a lot of bands have, that the reason that Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones sounds great is not because it sounds perfect, it's because it has this wabi-sabi quality to it. And most of the music that I think we all tend to listen to and enjoy to listen to is the thing that has personality. You can't have personality when you airbrush out every mole. It doesn't give life personality when you do that.
I will possess your heart.
Now, Ben, you actually went to Big Sur, California. Why was that an important trip for you?
I took part in a documentary about Kerouac and Big Sur and was able to see the cabin that Kerouac stayed at when he was down there and spent some time writing the record down there.
What do you think it was about that trip still that kind of made you realize certain aspects of yourself, and even this darkness that we do hear on the album?
I think that everybody is their kind of, when they're by themselves and they're alone with their thoughts, more times than not, I think they'll drift to like the more melancholic side of their lives, and I certainly do that when I sit down to write. I think I'm a pretty balanced person, but this is just what kind of comes out of me when I'm by myself and I'm thinking about my life and the lives of other around me. I found myself with the lack of spirituality in the place rather than the presence of it. There's a real desolation that you feel in a place that, it's in a canyon, it's very isolated. You only see the sun for a couple hours a day as it kind of crests over and then sets over the Pacific. So it was an eye-opener.